We can move forward in some positive ways when we learn to hear and listen to the voice of God as He speaks to us. Ain't no need of trying to figure out if He's speaking. He's always speaking. Problem is, sometimes you so caught up and hung up on other stuff, you can't hear what He's saying. Isaiah 65:24 says, I will answer them before they even call me. While they're still talking to me about their needs, I'll go ahead and answer their prayer. We can take comfort in that, can't we? That's God's promise. Yet, while it's good to know that even while we are praying, God hears us, the challenge for us is, are we hearing and listening to Him? Oh my God. You know, I keep telling y'all, be careful about listening to these folk talking all this stuff about naming it and claiming it and don't claim this and don't claim that, you know, and you want God to do this for you and you ain't doing nothing for God. You want God to bless you, you want God to solve your problem, yet you keep on doing the same stuff you've been doing all the time. My God, I'll let you stew in some of that stuff. I keep trying to tell y'all, you better be glad that God is God and I ain't. Because if y'all insulted me the way you insult God, I'm telling you the truth, you wouldn't have to wait for the burning fires of hell. I'd set you on fire while you walking down the street. I'm glad that God hears us. But are we hearing Him? Are we listening to His voice? What your future will look like depends much on how you listen to God. Your spiritual walk will depend on how you listen to God. Listening to the voice of God needs to be your priority in 2009. Let hearing His voice and His heartbeat be twin passions in your life during this coming year. The heartbeat of God is soul. God gets excited as new souls are brought into relationship with Him. God gets excited as souls grow in their relationship with Him. God gets excited when new folk come into the fold, but He also gets excited when those who are already in the fold start maturing. Some of us been in the fold for 30, 40 years and we still on milk. You need to grow. Some folk need to grow. Do I need to say that again? Some folk need to grow. You still babies. Well, hearing and listening to the voice of God helps you to know His will. But the second thing, seeing God at work strengthens your faith. Seeing God at work strengthens your faith. Elijah told his servant to go and look toward the sea. He told his servant to do that 7 times. Finally, the servant returned and reported that he saw a cloud as small as a man's hand. Note a couple of things here. Elijah persisted in what he knew in his heart to be true. He continued to insist that his servant go and look, even after he returned time and time again without seeing anything. Many of us would have given up on Elijah. Many of us said, that old man crazy. I ain't going to keep going back here looking for something. And because I'm an impatient guy. I'm going to look once or twice. If I don't see it, I'm going to quit looking. I don't know if I went back 7 times, man, and told me go look out here and ain't nothing there. But sometimes you got to go and do what you're told to do, even though you don't see any sense in it. On that 7th time, the servant returned to report to Elijah what Elijah already knew was going to happen. He reported seeing a small cloud. Here's something you can carry with you into 2009. God is at work in the small things. in the small thing. So many times we're looking for the big stuff, and we're missing the real stuff. Hebrews 11:1 says faith means being sure of the things we hope for and knowing that something is real even if we do not see it. Faith is being sure of the things we hope for and knowing that something is real even if we do not see it. Faith, my brothers and my sisters, is proven in the small things. Somebody needs to hear this. Be careful. Be careful that you're not complaining when you ought to be thankful. Do I need to say that again? Be careful that you're not complaining when you ought to be thanking. I wonder how many folk got to griping and complaining Thursday because they didn't get what they wanted to get. This thing was the wrong size. It was the wrong color. It was the wrong shape. You ought to be glad you got something. If you didn't get anything, you ought to be glad that you was here. You know, sometimes I see folks and they say, all right, you know, I'm glad to see you. I said, I'm glad to be seen. That sounds funny, but there's a whole lot in there. A lot of folk ain't being seen no more. I know heaven is my home, but I ain't ready to get there yet. I'd like to stay down here and hang around with y'all a little longer. Sometimes we can miss our right now blessings while we're complaining about what we don't have. As we're faithful in the small things, God will reward us with greater things. Our ability to grow and to become all that God intends for us to be is in proportion to our faithful obedience to Him. When we become careless, ungrateful, and lacking in faith, we lose out on God's best for us. Sometimes we have blessings galore and we can't enjoy them because they didn't come in the shape that we wanted them to come. Faith in the unseen is rewarding. Faith in the unseen is rewarding. Hebrews 11:1 says faith means knowing that something is real, even if we don't see it. Elijah knew the rain was on the way. He had listened in on the councils of heaven and heard the divine weather forecast. He didn't see rain, he didn't feel rain, but he heard rain in the distance. Elijah had just sent his servant to verify what he knew to be true in his heart. I know that things are looking grim right now, but get ready. I hear the sound of a great wind blowing. I hear the sound of the blowing wind of the Holy Spirit. Get ready, because you're going to experience some things in 2009 that you didn't think could happen. Pray and prepare yourself, because some of you need to step into some areas of ministry that you didn't think that you'd ever work in. Do more for God, and then see what God will do for you. Get ready, because God